Yeah, I just keep it steady on the magic. Do my thing, I'm healing, it's fantastic. If I fall, rise automatic. You ain't no now, you know. Only one rain myself like a tree from the roots. West side girl, cause she lit in the coast. East side girl when she speaks to the roots. Stay 100 cause she on with the truth. Been there on struggle, know that it pass. Only going up, yeah, the pain don't last. Ooh, take off. Ooh, take off. Ooh, take off. This is take off, take off, take off. Shorty like Brandy, fight like Monica. What you know about her? Baby girl rising, way to the top. Shaking the world, don't expect her to stop. Purpose so great, she get what she got. Follow her step, cause she following God. What you need more, got a heart full of gold. Even at times when it's raining and cold. Ooh, she bout take off. Ooh, she bout.
What up, what up, what up, y'all? It's your girl Hannah, aka Rutai. You are watching Black Women Wednesdays on the Uprooted Network. And y'all, I got a familiar face in the studio with me today. Some of y'all might recognize her. She has been on the show before. She's no stranger to Uprooted. I got my girl Betty in the building. What's up, Betty?
Hey sis. Can I say that intro was amazing? I literally was dancing. I was like,
Really? Right? I be bobbing my head too. Like,
such a
okay.
good intro.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. Sam made that song for me a while ago. So when you watch the re-recordings, I insert it, but like before, if you were on IG Live, you weren't getting that. So yeah,
I'm
it's a
so glad
nice
about that.
little treat. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have a
It's a
vibe,
good hype.
right?
Honestly, it's a great hype.
I'm telling you, because like sometimes I'd be really tired, and then as soon as I hit start, and then the song goes, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot, I'm doing something
This is
today.
my
So,
shit.
no, it's beautiful. I love it. So I'm happy that you do. And y'all, Betty, y'all might have seen her on Women in the Movement, right? We had that episode. It's been over a year. It's
I
crazy.
know,
Um,
wild.
so wild.
Overdue.
I just think about that. I'm like, wow, we're really all friends. And
It
and
started
then
from that role. Oh, so
we
wild.
it was such a good time. But also you came on for your own episode, right? So I
Mhm.
had Betsy also come on for Black Women Wednesday separately and talk about all the amazing, dope things you do with United Tagato Australia. Perth in the building. Got to do my shout out for y'all. Okay, what y'all call it? P City. Okay, P City. I
I
be
knew you
trying
were
to have.
coming.
I swear, I be trying to have the lingo, the all of that good stuff.
Oh, no.
It was all good times, good vibes.
Mhm.
And we didn't really get to talk about Betty, like the Betty the person, right? Not just Betty the work
Mhm.
that you do. And this season is all about, personal development, how we growing, how we living, all the big decisions, major scary things that we do in life, and just how we get through it. Because I think at this point, everybody needs a little bit of inspiration,
Mhm.
needs to know that they're not alone in this, and that like really and truly it's gonna get better. Like just keep going. Like we got life to live. So I brought Betty on, you know what I'm saying, because she be doing a lot, and I think that I think a lot of people are curious about how do you manage all of these things, et cetera, et cetera. So before we even go there, I just want to let you introduce yourself to the people. Let them know, if they don't know who you are, let them know who you are.
Amazing. So I'm Betty from Perth, Australia. I'm now repping Dallas, Texas.
Ooh,
3 weeks in. 3 weeks
okay.
in. I am a Scorpio Tagarawiti from Ella, associated with like different organizations, but I'll say United Tagaru and the Perth team. Gang, gang. Honestly, why am I doing this? Where is
I
this
don't
coming from?
know.
I don't know where it's coming from. Please
Is
erase
that
that.
is that
Remove.
is that an Australian thing?
It's not an Australian thing. Everything I do here, everyone's like, "Is that an Australian thing?" I'm like, "I'm not representing Australia. I'm not doing it well." Um,
Oh,
and
I love
then
it.
I used to work in like honestly, I'm really bad at introducing myself. I'm in a million things, but honestly, I'm more
I got
interested
you.
in
I can help
community.
you.
Mm.
She does a lot of political advocacy. She actually works. Well, I don't know how that works now because you're not in Australia anymore. But was working, with Australian government. Also United Tagato Australia, which I just had up. If you aren't following them, make sure that you're doing that. As
Mhm.
well as just community activism, all together, right? Like just being in those different spaces.
Mhm.
Finishing up her second count them, 2 degrees, right? Are we on our masters?
We
So
are, yeah.
yeah, Betsy, she out here working, y'all. She grinding, she making it happen, she's making it move. And yeah, I know it really is our culture to
It
not
is.
brag on ourselves. And like it's like my goal is to get people to talk their shit.
You
Like
actually force me to talk about myself, and you make me feel great afterwards. It's like, it's not even a cocky way. It's
yes,
great.
that's what I'm talking about. Like talk your shit because we do way too much, right?
Mm.
And there's people who are so mediocre who have no problem talking their
Talking about
shit.
themselves or
You
getting
know?
credit. Oh, I have the ick of people getting credit, and everyone's like, you can get credit for the work you do. I'm like, I just don't know how to do that. Like, it's not my culture.
I'm telling you, and these people really drive me nuts because I'm like, man, I wish the people who were really dope, amazing, did all the work, like
Mhm.
had just a tad bit more, confidence in like sharing that, right? And like
Mhm.
having that space. And I was like, if Uprooted got to be that space, it got to be that space. Like we're gonna make it happen. Like it.
Period. And
We
everyone that you've had on so far, honestly, never talk about themselves. Like, I just like don't know what it is with our culture. But I think it's even worse for like, I was saying this to Mike, like the culture in America, people have no issue saying what they're working on, but they'll never
Mhm.
say how hard they're working on it. Where for us, like we say nothing. We're just like, yeah, I'm Betty. I could be a princess. I'm like, Australia just like does not speak up at all. It's really
Oh
bad.
man, it's like, and it's for me the reason why I say this and why I bring it up is because like who's left in charge, who are we looking up to, who are we inspiring to? It's like these people who put themselves in those positions, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or like some people don't, but like the majority of them, like you got to have some type of confidence, you got to be able to do your elevator pitch and like put yourself out there in so many different ways. And there
Mhm.
I always am like, you're not the smartest, you're not this, whatever, like you just have confidence. Like
100%.
I was
And
like,
even with the movement, like I always say this, there are people that like are the face of the movement. And then what kills me is like the people behind the scenes.
mm.
If people like even like Rum High, who I always shout out, like just like people
Feel
who are
me,
doing a
free
lot
Tigray.
free. I'm waiting for my merch. The best thing about coming to America is like I finally get all this merch.
Yeah.
But just like people, yeah, like Rum High and like Bizarre from Omna, like there's 1,000 people I could even shout out, and like all these people do so much work and they never get credit for it. And
Mhm.
I don't know, it's something I also love in my culture though, but it is
It's
it is important
hard.
for us
It,
too.
it's a hard balance. And I guess why I'm also trying to push this theme, right, is like we can't play small anymore.
Mhm.
Like Tigray literally cannot afford us to play small. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you sharing your greatness is like you just got to think about it like I'm putting Tigray on the map too. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Because like we're for better or worse, we're gonna constantly be seen as a representation. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, and if you guys are gonna do that, then I might as well make sure that I'm big. Because if I'm big, then Tigray gets big, and like Tigray gets put on the map. Because there's
Mhm.
countries like that are smaller, right? Like there's regions, there's countries that are much smaller. They get way more attention, and like
100%. Less
and
population.
exactly, and why, right?
You
Like,
know what forces you to do that though? Like LinkedIn, like since I got LinkedIn, I
mhm.
basically have to advertise myself, which is like something I get very anxious about. And from then, I actually got a job from LinkedIn. So I was like, you actually gain a lot from like selling yourself. You get
Ooh.
like better networks, make better friends. I don't know what it is, but there are some benefits, I guess.
No, there are. I mean, and you got to think about which platform is used for what reason, right? Like LinkedIn is you're gonna find people who are serious on there. It's not gonna be a bunch of riffraff, right? Like it's
Mhm.
really people who are intentional about that space. And so no, that's interesting. Okay, let's talk about this job. Okay, I didn't know about this. So um
You're so funny.
I know. I'm like, hold on. Like it's like we have this whole group chat. I'm like, when did you get this job? Um either way, speaking about that, is this like a current thing? Is like you're
Yeah,
or is this something?
it's a part-time job. I'm gonna put you on the spot because I feel like I posted on the group, but it's just a part-time job.
Okay.
But I probably just don't talk about it
Oh, is it the okay, let me not say all that.
now. Yeah,
Um
and I
yeah.
don't think I actually said it. I just said I was working part-time while I was here.
Mhm.
But basically we had like the WA Public Health Alliance, and they're writing like a framework. So I'm just helping them write their multicultural um, competency framework,
Mm.
which is interesting doing it virtually. But yeah, it's been good.
Listen, she said I moved countries and still still managed to find work. Like it is so interesting. But that has to do a lot with just you, right? Because like what I will say about you is that you have like a very um actually I would say this about our whole group, and that's probably why we get along, is that like we're all very internally motivated, right? Like we're all
Mhm.
self-starters and overachievers in our own ways, right? And doing the
Mhm.
most. But I'm sure you didn't just get there overnight. So how do you feel like maybe that, or where do you think that came from for you? Or did you have to develop that like over time?
I was gonna say recently, like I got nominated for an award for like my state, and
Uh-huh.
like at that point, it was when I realized like how much I had done in like the last 2 years. But like
Mhm.
prior to that, I was like, I don't think anyone actually knows, and I'm calm with that because like my work can speak for itself. But I think I just grew up with like a single mom, and she's so ambitious. And I don't know, her biggest thing is like she's not attached to like money, but she works really hard. And I was like, I cannot live that selfless life. Like I don't know, for me, like being successful is like all I have is being like the first generation Australian. And I'm
Mhm.
so like community minded. So it's like if I can build success around that, then I'm straight.
Ooh, yes, I like that. Let's talk about that because our moms are extremely hardworking, like to the
I know.
point where I'm like, "Would you take a break? Jesus Christ, like sit
Mhm.
down." Was that like a running theme? Like, were you always involved growing up, like in the community and put in
Yeah. My
positions?
parents have always been like, both my parents have always been like community focused. Like they've always been like at the heart of the community in Perth. And they know so many people. Like my dad has so many friends in America. Like he's just a very, as you would know, like just like a very chatty person, like very social. Which is probably where I got my social stuff from too. But actually, I want to say both my parents are very social. But yeah, I always like grew up in a community. Was very like attached to back home, like in Tigray. Now I
Mhm.
have to say back home, like where I'm actually talking about, because I'm not even in Australia.
I know,
Very hard.
girl. I've had that problem forever. I'm like, which home you talking about? I was like, oh, I have so many. Like, I don't
You
know.
guys move around a lot in America. I'm telling you, no one's from the city they were actually raised in.
Yeah, I could say.
My
I mean, it's also our age range, right? So let's talk about that. Let's get
yeah.
into that, right? Is like our age range, right, is the time where people have a little bit more flexibility. They're moving for jobs or financially they can afford to live in the place that
Mhm.
they want to or they can't, right? And
Yeah.
so they got to move, or we moved for college and you built a network of, business contacts or whatever, and it was you got a job there. You know what I mean? So you stayed
Mhm.
there. There's like a whole bunch of reasons why that happens, but I do notice that like in our generation, like it's our age, not our generation, but like our age range is that like a go experiment with life. You know what I mean? Go
Mhm.
take those leaps and do those things, and we all kind of try to
But
figure it out.
you mature so much easier though, and you have like a lot of experience living with yourself. And I feel
Mhm.
like you guys have like a college or like call university like lifestyle here. Well, back home, like you're just going to like study and then you leave campus.
Mhm.
But
I
yeah,
don't
you
know. I've visited some of the campuses
don't.
back home, and they definitely still live the college life. Let me tell you.
They
Um,
do.
yeah, I think it just depends on if they got where they got placed. So I think that's the difference is that
Mhm.
like here we have choice, right? You can apply to whatever schools, and I mean you have the choice to apply, you don't have the choice to get in, right? But like
Of course.
you at least have that choice where back home, from my understanding, you're placed. Like,
So
you know
back
what I
home
mean?
as in the Bay
No,
or
back
back
home
home
in
today?
IB, like back home in Tigray,
Oh
like
yeah, of
or
course. It's based on your grades and stuff like that.
yeah, like they don't
We
have
do
a
have some
choice.
say.
Yeah, so if you're in your same city, you might not feel, right, like you can explore
Mm.
as much. But those who do, right, like you're still in a new environment, so you still get all of those
Yeah,
benefits.
100%. I'm talking more like even in Perth, we don't really have like a campus culture. It's
Oh.
still like so community, like we're still like a part of the zero community, but like there isn't a huge culture with like college or university.
Oh, so y'all don't party like us?
Oh, we do party, don't get me wrong.
I was
No,
like,
we still go
"Damn,
out
bro,
and
like,
party,
that's
it's like
sad."
that. No, I meant like on campus. But it
Okay.
means that you guys like, I'm not saying you get raised faster, but you know how to be more independent at a
Mhm.
younger age, where like most of us still live with our parents. Not even bashing Australia. We're just like so family orientated, or like
Mhm.
the parents in like Australia or Perth, for instance, are more I'm not gonna say backwards, I'll say cultured.
Okay.
Like my mum's like low-key more fob than like my aunties in Malta. Like I always say this. She just
Oh, they are.
refuses to like assimilate to Australian culture compared to like people in America. Like the mums I've seen here, I'm like, how are you speaking fluent English? I'm so confused. Like,
Yeah, it's not everywhere. Let me tell you, it's not everywhere. It might be a Texas thing, like, but it's not everywhere because I have plenty of aunts who refuse, and they're still speaking like they speak enough to get their job done. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But
100%.
yeah, they're not trying to have full conversations with folks. So it is interesting depending on like where you're at. But I think that speaks to just the idea, right? Like of not wanting to lose who you are,
Mhm,
like you know, it doesn't matter where you end up, but just wanting to hold on to like this is who I am, this is where I'm from,
mhm,
and being very like disciplined about it. I think our parents like really were like trying to hold on for a long time.
100%. Yeah.
And yeah, they've loosened up like as we've gotten older because like they've gotten accustomed to certain things too. Um,
Mhm,
but it's just like that drive of like not wanting to forget that. And I think that me and you had that similar upbringing of like being in community and like having parents that like push that on us, right?
mhm.
Newsflash for those who don't remember from prior episodes, but our dads are friends, and we found that out. It's still very funny. I'm like, the day
Do
your
you know
dad
how many
called
people
me,
I've
I was
met?
like, it was so
When
funny.
you told me, I was trying to put the dots together. I was like, "Oh my god, I know your dad." I just didn't realize your dad was your dad.
Yeah.
Like, so funny.
It's always fun. It's always fun when people figure out who my family is. But I just think about like how much that's played a role in our identity and how we've grown up and seen
Mhm.
ourselves. So I'm wondering for you, when you're thinking about your own identity, like how much that's impacted you, or like how do you see yourself now?
It's so weird because, like, since coming here, I've had, like, a weird I don't know, like, Mike's been really supportive, but
Mhm.
I'm adjusting to not having 16-hour days where I'm working, like, full-time, having another job, like, in a million advocacy groups and, like, helping, like, the city and stuff. So then, like, now I feel like I'm like, what am I without my, like, schedule of being really busy? Which I've struggled a lot in, but I don't know, I think I've been so community focused, like, I don't know how to really be it sounds deep, it's not that deep, but, like, I don't know how to be without serving other people, if that makes
Mhm.
sense? So I'm trying to, like, learn how to do things for myself, without it being, like, to better, like, a movement, like, even before genocide, it was, like, being a feminist or supporting, like, the ideas in Australia, like, whatever I was fighting for, I feel like I've always been, like, fighting for something, and now I'm like, I don't know what to do as, like, an individual outside of, like, to go genocide.
Girl, yeah, no, that's actually deep. I don't know why you said that wasn't deep. That's actually very
Yeah, I
deep.
was like, without being deep or yeah, like, I just don't know how
No,
to do
because
it.
think about it, right? We're talking about our own personal development, right? And our own
Mhm,
growth. Your growth, right, and your idea of self has been wrapped around other people your
mm.
entire life. So like it doesn't shock me that you'd be, you know what I mean, like
I
struggling to it's like you're struggling to get off that like exit, you know what I
Mhm,
mean? Because it's like, oh, but I've been on this road for so long. Like, you know what I
mhm.
mean? It's like I know this road. I know the curves. I know like which sections are darker. There might be a pothole that you hit all the time, right? Like we we know those things. And so when you
Yeah.
move, right, or when you transition into the next chapter of your life, and as you're saying, like it's not like you had this big experience of living on your own and like being away from people. So I'm sure like nobody
Mm.
should be shocked, right? Like no one should be shocked that
I
that's
think
like
I just took
what you're
I
experiencing.
think it was more like I shocked myself, but, like, everyone I've been speaking to about it is like I mean, like, of course. I think also, like, being raised like, even though my mum has done everything for us, like, always being conscious that I can't do things for myself, like, it's always like, "Okay, how's it gonna impact the family?"
Hmm.
And then now I'm like, "You know what? Like, I can spend this on this," or, like, I can watch an episode or something and not feel guilty,
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't know.
That's a
It's
good
just
spot to be in. You gotta just like enjoy it. Like you know what I
I'm
mean?
trying so I'm smiling. I'm trying so hard to enjoy it, but I haven't got to that stage yet. I think now I'm like, even if we bought like a Tigrayans book so we can both like read and write.
Hmm.
Like that's my goal for this year to read and write fluently. And even then I'm like, I could be doing something else. Like I don't know, like it's just like a really bad habit, but
Yeah.
I'm
It's
learning to unlearn.
it's a conditioning. You know what I mean? Like if you've been conditioned your whole life to like fill your time, You know what I
Mm.
mean? And like it sounds very American too, this whole like idea of like constantly being doing something and like being productive.
The
And like people
toxicity.
feel like if they sit around for too long, like they feel bad about it. Like I have the multitasking conditioning. So like I'll sit and be watching Netflix and I'll have my phone and I'm like doing
Oh
another
yeah, same. Yeah, of course.
right? Because like I'm just like, wow, I'm too relaxed. Like I'm just sitting here. Like
This
mm.
doesn't feel right.
Yeah, like it still, and I've been doing this for some time, right? So it's like it does take a while, and it's just like this mental, like keep reminding yourself it's okay to relax, it's okay to rest, it's okay to be
Mhm.
still, you know what I mean? Because you also need time to think, right?
Yeah.
Like you need time to like plan. Like half of the work you do is doing planning for other people.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, well, what happens if I plan for myself?
Yeah, and it's definitely, like, I just wanna echo, like, the feeling guilty for just sitting down is,
Mhm,
like, such a toxic trait that, like, a lot of, like I mean, to God in general, but, like, a lot of, like, my friends outside of that community also feel.
mhm.
So it's really hard to, like, actually just chill out. But I also think it's, like, the culture in our generation, honestly, like, this whole, like, hustle, 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 like, grind now and be miserable, and then you'll be, like, smiling in your 30s or 40s. I'm like, I just don't get why we can't be happy throughout the whole way, like,
Right.
it's called balance, but I would be very hypocritical if I said I do that, so
It's okay. We love honesty, right? We want to know like where are we at? Like let's be honest with where we're at and then we can like work
Mm.
on where we want to be. This move is like it's a big move. You moved entire countries. Like that's whole cultures. You were already as an immigrant, right? Like in one country,
Mhm.
adjusting to that and then coming to
Oh, no,
another one. It's like
this is a different level of immigration, like, this is like I keep telling everyone here, I'm like, "I'm actually an immigrant," like, I can't ever tick the, like, resident or, like, born here tick box, whatever. I'm
mhm.
like, I can't even, like, work here, like, it feels like a whole different, like, shockwave. I don't know. Like, I thought I was part of the multicultural community, but now I really feel like I understand what my parents went through.
It's really true and it's what like all of us are going through or like collectively right is like
Mm.
trying to sift through what does that mean like you know what I mean like what does that actually mean for our lives like how does that impact us um
Mhm.
and luckily for you at least you're capable right like you speak the language you know
Oh,
even
yeah,
though our
100%.
slang is weird but like you speak the
I
language
have to repeat myself, that's fine, that's fine.
you know and it's like you're a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of being able to use like your drive right like you've already
Mhm.
been a self-motivated person you're a fixer you know what I mean like you see a problem and you try to fix it and you fight for it and you do that and I think that a lot of people don't have that and so it's like very scary to like make the decision you made because I mean what that's a big decision to make like
Man,
oh
I know.
I'm gonna hop on a flight like
Me
it's
too. You know what's so funny? It's like something we always spoke about like throughout like the whole 1 year, but then I just like because he has his reasons for why he can't move, and I was like, look, at this stage, like I feel like I'm kind of set with my accomplishments. Like I can do things in a different country,
Mhm.
especially with the impact I want to make. But yeah, honestly, I thought it was going to be easier than it actually is. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
actually is harder than I thought because I was like, I don't know how our parents did this because they don't speak English,
Mhm.
and like even understanding the forms and stuff like that was very complex. I was like, what the hell is going on? But also like losing your network, like
Mhm.
not just like your friends and family, but just like, oh, I know this person that can help me with this. Like just like the general network is probably the hardest thing. Um, and then also, yeah, not having my 6 hour days, which we didn't, I don't know why I miss them so much. Such a
That's just your body. You don't actually miss them, but your body is confused as to like why it's not moving. Like
I spoke to someone yesterday and they were like, it's okay to like, because I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself with like my hours not being as longer. And
mhm.
Mike works like a lot and he's in a million advocacy groups. Like he has his startup. And I keep comparing like my schedule to his, and everyone's like, just chill the hell out. Like, don't be so harsh on yourself, blah, blah. But
Well,
we'll see
he
how.
didn't move. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
Like
what I mean. Like, I'm my biggest self critic. Like, people don't actually impact me. Like, I impact myself. It's
no,
dangerous.
that's real talk. I mean, other people have it the other way around and I feel like your your like ability or I mean your self-awareness about that is like good because you can fix yourself. It's a lot
Mhm.
harder to get everybody else to leave you alone. You know
I
what I
know,
mean?
but in my mind, it sounds so like narrow-minded, but I'm like, I'll just shut the door or turn my phone off to run away. But I'm like, when you can't run away from yourself, like you end up like just staying up all night, like, why don't you do it this way? Why don't you do it that way? Like, it's so bad.
Oh, speak about that. That sounds like my anxiety. Like you be up. I was like, listen,
Rethinking.
yeah.
Oh, God. Or like even thinking about what you didn't do, like that's what kills me. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
you should finish this, or you can't relax until you do this, and then it's like some big task, or yeah, I don't know.
Wow, no, that's very accurate because I definitely had to force myself to sleep last night. I was like, girl, go to sleep. Like, because I was beating myself up all day about resting. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I was like, I woke up so exhausted and I was
Yeah.
just like, I have these things that need to get done. And I'm also like, but you're hella tired and it's taking you like 3 times as long to get it done because you don't want to actually do it. And so I had to like give myself the self talk that I tell everyone else. And I was like, oh, guess you're just taking a rest day. Like, you know, and I was gotta sit on the couch, right? And like do all that. But then the thoughts do still come at night. So I had to sit
Mm.
there and like do my list and like I
Then
have a
it's
couple
okay.
things. Yeah. So are there things that you do to help calm yourself down like when those things happen or do you have like a routine?
Mm.
Like what's helped you kind of get through it? Cuz I mean, you've been successful so far, so something's working.
It's so weird because like even when I was working or when I was like I'm just gonna keep saying six nowadays, but sometimes it'll be more, sometimes less, let's just for argument's sake, call it a big 16. I would sleep really satisfied. But then if I had like a Saturday where I only like worked like maybe 5-6 hours, I would sleep like, do I even deserve this sleep? Like it was a really bad habit to have.
Oh,
It was so bad. It's like, or like if I'm hanging out with my friends and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, did I actually do what I needed to do to get here to this point? And like I think it got to the stage where like it wasn't normal. And I had to like, yeah, relearn to like, it's so weird because I do all these things where I'm still quite social. Like I'm very big on like family and friends, but I don't know. Like it'll be like 9 p.m. and I'll leave my house to see someone for 1 hour. I just have to see someone. I'm like, okay, I had a good day. But other people like I value sleep over like anything. And I'm like, that's just not me. But
Oh, I love. Listen, the only committed relationship I'm in is with my bed. Like
no,
that's the
don't get me wrong. I love sleep. Like when it comes to actually sleeping, I can sleep 20
thing.
hours. But it's like sugar. Like if I start, I won't stop. So
That's interesting. I don't think I've heard that before, but oh, I just love it. I love your metaphors and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's a new one. Um,
so funny. Seek help.
so your method is to like find something to like satisfy that itch. Like, okay, let me get up and do something. Do you do any like self-care things to like talk yourself down?
Not really. I think I just like talk about like if I don't feel like I've had like a productive day, I'll be more easier on myself by saying like, you know, you got this done, you got that done, like you're trying really hard with this, whatever, and I kind of like ease my way in. Another thing I do, which I probably mentioned before to you, because I mentioned it to everyone, it's so weird, is like I sleep because if I can't control my actual day or my life, I sleep so embarrassing. You may need to cut this out.
Oh God.
I know people do it, just like no one admits it. I just sleep creating. This is why I'm a writer. I create scenarios in my head, and then I fix my story in my head. It can be the most randomest story, like I have superpowers, or like I moved to Sweden, whatever it is, and I control that story, and then I can sleep peacefully. If that makes sense. So I
No,
think
that
that's
doesn't make sense. I don't think that's weird. That's normal.
because everyone's like, when I tell some people, they're like, oh, I hella relate to that. Like I replay real life scenarios. I'm like, oh no, I don't do that. Like I create new
Nuance.
scenarios that I can control. Yeah. But yeah, some people are like, yeah, this is why, because I really wanted to write like a children's book and like even like a normal book. I'm just like so into writing. And I think that's because like I've been like, I'm creative, but like not artsy creative, more like creative writing, creative, just still creative. But yeah.
No, I like that. Using storytelling because I talk about that all the time. Like it might not sound like I don't know if I use the word storytelling, but it is storytelling, right? It's like what is this is how I say it. What is the story that you're telling yourself? You know? And then can you the whole point of being able to control your mind is to be able to control that story that you're telling because your mind does what or your body will do what your mind wants it to. You know what I mean? So what you tell yourself, how you treat yourself, like the things that you repeat, et cetera, like we know like that's scientifically proven, right? Like
Mhm.
we know that like really impacts the way people move. And so you understanding like you are a storyteller and that you can control that, like that's manifesting, that's visualization, right? Like that's meditation. Like
It sounds so great when you say it like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's like I was like,
That's
that's
how I
literally
feel.
what I ask people to do all day. I was like, can you sit and meditate? Can you visualize the life you want, or can you visualize something that you like, makes you happy,
Mm.
and like bring yourself out of whatever you're doing, right? Because you literally have to take your mind out of it. So no, I don't think that's weird at all. I
It's
think that's
facts though. I watched the video and I don't even want to say documentary because I don't think it was that long, but like someone was yelling at a plant for like 30 days and then like complimenting another plant and then like they grew differently. It's all these things like I'm so like self-aware, but I'm like, why do I not actually do them? Like this is what I mean, like, is this self-harm?
I know. I've had this argument with somebody and they were like, you're trying to tell me that talking to a plant. And I was like, bro, it's like I'm not just making these things up. Like it actually works.
These facts. Yeah.
Like actually works, my guy. Like I promise you. I saw like I think it was a reel or something yesterday, and it was like this lady who was talking about, man, you know how your therapist be saying all these simple ass answers, and you're like, no, those can't possibly work, and you just ignore them. And she said, well, today I tried them, and she was like,
Oh,
and
it
they
worked?
freaking worked. Yeah, she was just like, you know what, you won this round, therapist. But I was just dying laughing.
So facts though. So facts.
It's so like literally. Man, Lauren said it. It could all be so simple. Like it really, really could. You can keep searching for answers all you want, but it's going to take you back to this. And I think like between my degree and my own studies, a solid 10 years of like just really trying to understand like how do we get better, and like how do we heal? How do we recover? I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get the same answers. So all the same shit. Go walk, get some sunlight, get some vitamin D.
Oh my god. Talk about walking. We just talk about walking for a second. So this guy's obsessed with walking, right? I'm like, I just don't understand it. It's not for me. And like today, like I've gone on walk twice since I've been here. But both times I'm like, wow, that felt amazing. Like I actually understand when people walk now. I'm like, I just like don't get why I didn't think to do this. Like it took me 26 years to like think walking was fun. But like I'll walk at the beach or like at a park, somewhere that has like nice scenery, but I'm doing it for the scenery, not for walking. But like here, you're just walking to walk. I'm like, so simple.
Listen, that's what I'm telling you. It's like, and I do it too, right? Like I'm gonna take a walk after this because one, I need to move. Like I need to move my body and I need to move my back. But literally, like those things work. Like drink water. You know what I'm saying? Get your vitamin D. Journal. Put your thoughts out on paper. Get it out of your mind. You know what I mean? Like all of these this is the same tools over and over and over and over again. You just get better at knowing which tool to use, and which tool works for you, because there's like a million of them, right? But like those ones are the basic ones that like everyone should do. And then how you manage all your other mental stuff, it's up to you. Like you're a strong writer, you could, you know what I'm saying, like you could literally write your way out of
Yeah,
depression.
I used to before genocide when I actually had time to think. I used to just like write every day, like journal to myself. But I'd be like, I'm talking to myself. I'm like, no one could ever see these. Even if I got like heated in an argument with a friend or whatever, I would write down what I'm actually feeling. I'm like, you dumb ass. And then I'm like, wow, I actually love this person. Like by the end of the letter, like you feel calm. But like, I don't know. I feel like I've been conditioned to like hold in my thoughts because I know I'm a hothead. And then like actually process and then like write it down and be like, okay, this is actually how I feel. But talking about therapy and talking about TikTok, because both of those intertwine for me.
Okay.
I saw a TikTok the other day and it was like this lady saying, I'm scared I'm gonna get this incorrect. So everyone actually check it out. I might send it to you afterwards if I find it. But she was saying like I spent majority of my life like knowing the emotions I was going through, but I didn't actually feel it. Like, and she explained it really well, and I was dying. I was like, oh my god, like when I'm actually angry, I'm like, damn, I'm angry. I acknowledge I'm actually angry, but I'm like, am I actually feeling my anger or just like brushing it off? Like, I felt like it was just then, honestly.
For sure. No, you did. That's what we think about all the time. I had that problem. I had that problem for a long time. Now I don't, because you see me crying all the time. It's very annoying. It's not like annoying to cry. It's just like
It's
sometimes it
actually
happens
a
that
good thing though.
no, it's a great thing. It's
Yeah.
just it's only annoying to me when it happens where I don't want it to happen. Like when I'm not, you know
That's
what I
me
mean?
all the time, but yeah.
It's just like ugh, I tell people to cry every day. I'm like, yeah, get those tears out. But it's like sometimes when I'm really trying to get something done and I just can't because I have to cry,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh, again, like you know, like
Mhm.
because I've been doing so
Oh,
much like
the frustration cry is the worst cry for me. Like more than any heartache. Like, when you can't actually get something done properly, I actually cry like there's no tomorrow. But I
yeah.
have this thing if someone looks at me crying, I can hold it in. Like I just know what it is. Like if I'm by myself, like I'll cry in the shower. I sound so depressed right now.
No, everyone does it. They just don't say it.
Yeah, so I don't mind like crying alone in the car, but then the second like afterwards you're like, oh, you're that bitch, get over it, whatever.
Yeah.
But then like when people know, I just feel like it's gonna linger, like or I'll be over it and they'll still be talking about it. Sorry, Mike's dog, his name's
Uh,
Ace after One Piece. A show I haven't watched yet, but I will. He cries all the time. Hammy.
No, that's good. He needs it. Because he knows he wants attention and he's getting it. Right?
Wow.
Like
He's so different to my dog, bro.
no, it's
No,
okay.
but
It's really it's
no,
what
honestly,
happens.
he's the cutest dog in the world. Like he's well trained, blah blah, like, different to my dog. But like my dog is like a barker and like a don't touch me kind of
Mhm.
person. So it's been hard like changing to like another dog. The first 2 weeks I refused to like love him. I was like, nope, I haven't like recovered from leaving my dog. I can't I can't replace her, but he's amazing.
Oh, I mean that's pretty much you know they say that like dogs like resemble their owners, like their personalities and stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna quote that and use that against Mike.
Okay. I'm just saying. But that means you gotta quote yourself about your own dog.
Oh my god, I'd even protest. Wow,
Yeah.
that is wild. Actually, so facts. Honestly,
Yeah.
like I like to think in like 20. I can be really affectionate, but sometimes I'm like, why are you in my space right now? Like,
I'm telling you, they say that all the time. Dogs really, really do like they because you train them, so
I feel like I always learn something new when I leave a conversation with you. Like,
that's my goal. I love that. Shit, that's a good goal. I'm gonna add that to my legacy. I swear. It's really true. No, I love it. I'm
miss
in the
it.
process of wanting another dog. Because we had to put ours down sadly last year. I know. It's not time to cry. He was old. It wasn't like he was, you
Yeah,
know,
no,
like
yeah.
he was at the end of his life and it that does come, by the way. Um and like we got to prepare for that, right? You know what I mean? I think our brains really try to protect us from so
Mhm,
much. But if
mhm,
you think about it, like going back to even what you were saying about we 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 think about our feelings, we don't feel them. So
mm.
like the way you were explaining it, like with the TikTok and things, it's like, no, we do that. Like I remember I was sitting in a therapy session and I was articulating the hell out of my feelings. Okay.
Yeah.
I could I was like, yeah, and then this made me mad. And I could like articulate all of it. And then my therapist was just like, okay, can you just sit for a second? And he was like, can you name the feeling? And I was like, yeah, you know, like naming the feelings. And he's like, can you just sit still and like just sit in that feeling? And I was like, huh? Like, you know what I mean? Like we're so used to moving through it and we're like
Mhm,
so used to analyzing it and processing it because
mhm.
we're so used to processing information. You know what I mean? Especially those of us who are productive and overachievers,
Yeah.
we're usually processing that information to do something with it. You know what I mean? And then like when it's you and your feelings and you're like, I don't know what to do with all this, it's just like you're just like, this is
You
trash,
just
right?
can't
So
take
you
it.
just
Get
you just
straight to it.
yeah, you mentally think about it and you're like, "Oh, it's done." Because 'Cause I've already thought about it, I've already
Mhm. I
processed
was
it.
angry,
Yeah,
class.
it's
Yeah.
cool, it's over, and it's like, "No," because what happened when I sat still for long enough, I just started crying. Like, it just was like all of the actual feelings of it, like, started just coming out. Like, I just started bawling, okay?
Yeah.
And I hadn't cried like that in a long time. This was, like, 10 years ago, by the way. Um,
No
and
way. This explains so much. You've been seeing therapy for 10 years?
No, I haven't been in the office, like, no, I've took it for 1, but I've been since then, I've just been doing the work,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Continuing and I need to get back into it. I do therapy in a lot of different ways, but I'm at a spot where I need to be, like, with one consistent person, so that I don't have to keep retelling different contexts of my life. But
Mhm.
no, I did that. I was a psych major, so I did the therapy. I was like, I'm not gonna promote something I don't believe in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it full way out. And it really, yeah, it shook me. I was like, oh, this is what it means when they say feel the feeling. Like
Mhm.
not avoid it, not talk about it and think about it only, but like actually sit in it. It's
Mhm.
unpleasant in the beginning, um, because
But
we're
you
just
feel
not
relieved
used to it.
afterwards.
Very relieved after, like
Yeah.
very light. Like you feel very, very light after. You might be a little like the first few times you might be a little dazed. You know what I mean? You might be a little
Yeah.
confused because you're just like not used to letting it out. So your body is like, I don't know what to do with this. But it's so, so beneficial. And really that's the goal. Is like, can you actually sit in it? So that's what I was
Mhm.
doing the other day, and I know I still owe my body a good cry. I just been pushing it off. Maybe I'll do it on this walk that I'm about to take, but
You
it
can
you
FaceTime me. We can cry together.
yeah, I'm telling you, I literally do that. I'm like, okay, I do it in the car, especially because you're by like the moments where you're by yourself and you don't have to worry about what you look like, how people are perceiving it, X, Y,
You can
Z.
just oh, the car is the best because you can just especially in the evening, like, you can just let it out completely, bro, or you can cry like this.
Yes, you can be like, I need my attention. It's like you stopped petting me. Who told you to stop petting
Yeah,
me?
it's not like 5 seconds later, but
Yeah, it's really it's that, right? And it's like needing that space, needing that time. And I also really miss my dog for that reason. Like it took me a long time to accept him too because
fine.
I didn't grow up with one. So like when I moved, to Colorado for school and just all these other things, my uncle has a dog. So I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm living in a house with a dog." Like it was so strange for me. It took a while.
Mhm.
But I nursed that man, I nursed that dog back to health. Let me tell you. I nursed that dog back to health.
Of course you
Got him on
did.
a routine because he had so many like things going wrong when I got here. That we'll go into detail offline, but it was just like that became like my buddy,
Yeah.
and he had like a sense about like dogs really do have a sixth sense, you know,
Mhm. If you're
um,
crying, they literally come to you, like, if you're stressed out,
every
worried.
every time, and
Mhm.
he probably notices that like you're going through a tough transition, so he's gonna keep coming around you. You know what I mean? Like you
So
think
nice,
you're
that's way of putting it. "Are you
yeah.
singing for me?"
Yeah, he likes you. I was like, dogs don't just come around anybody. You think you're petting him for you. Or no, you think you're petting him for him, but you're really petting him for you because it's like it's a very therapeutic. Like that's why a lot of people get
That's a
emotional
wise way of
support.
saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people get emotional support dogs, right? Like it's a
Mm.
thing because anytime I was like sad or whatever, it didn't matter. Like he would come
Mhm.
sit next to me. Like I'm like, where'd you just come from? Like you over here chilling, like you know what I mean?
Especially if you
And
don't
it
like affection, like, it just you end up changing, like, you need something next to you.
mhm, all the
Mhm.
time. I have like hella like that was like the the only thing that I would put on my Instagram, my personal one. It was just be like, look at my dog. Like it would just be doing the most.
That was me for ages on my Instagram. I was like, "Let me just cool down," because how much people just don't like dogs like that.
No, they be disrespecting it, but like I've actually like met more
My friends
people.
stopped coming to my house as often because of my dog. Isn't that mean?
Oh, yeah, it was very the hell, but it's
But she's
okay.
huge though. Like, she's actually, like,
A
3
big
times bigger than Ace.
no, that makes sense. But it's really the what I like what I try to tell people is animals or just caring for something outside of
Mhm.
yourself, it really does teach you a lot. It really does keep you patient and kind and all of those things because this, this dog or who whatever it is for other people who are watching is dependent on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you almost have to keep yourself together because you got to keep him together or her, whatever, right? So it's like it yeah, I just be like, don't just have a baby, have a dog first. Practice.
You learn a lot, like, the, like, requirements of, like, walking, feeding, grooming. Okay, come here. This
Yeah,
stuff right here, patience.
being in your space whenever you're trying to get things done, it doesn't
On
matter
her
because
bed,
like
whatever it is.
they
Yeah,
need you,
100%.
right? So it's like it does teach us so much of like really just being present,
Mm.
showing up, you know what I mean, being accountable, and you. like you could do that with a different animal if you want. I just like dogs. You like dogs, so this was easy for us to talk
I mean,
about.
I like all animals. Dogs are definitely my favorite, minus them crying. But going back a couple of steps, we're talking about like absorbing how we're feeling and not just saying that we're feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Just came to mind. It's like I don't do that with my day-to-day life, but I do that with my friends. Like we do this thing where now that like at this age it's a bit hard, like we play likes and dislikes, or we just like catch up just for like the intention of having a DNM. Like
Mhm.
shout out HGs, like let me shout the group out. And
I was like a DNM.
deep and meaningful.
Oh,
This is the only time I've had to repeat myself in this whole life.
I
It's
know.
amazing.
Is that supposed to be slang?
That's amazing.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
I mean,
I'm learning
I've
in very
been talking to you all year, so I know.
That's true. I know.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I forget.
Yeah. So DNM session.
Yeah, it's a deep and meaningful.
Okay, I like this. So you do this with your friends?
Yeah, like we grew up doing that, right? So we all had like, I mean, I don't do it to my own feelings, but like we never held anything in. And I feel like that's the reason why I can never like replace my friends. Like because like we all grew up together and we're there through the whole like development, like literally since birth till now. And yeah, like they taught me like you learn so much more when you're opening up to other people, like and you get their perspective. So now I have no issue with like raising a concern.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, that's good.
yeah, and like when you're explaining the issue, like I walk in, I'm like, I'm heated at this girl. I'm gonna say this, and that, and then I explain myself, and then like as I'm saying it to them, like vocalizing it, I'm like, wait, I wasn't actually angry. I was hurt because of this, or like I was misled because of this, or you get their point of view, and yeah.
Oh, that's a big one. This idea of communication, right? And like friendship. Because I think on our journey, on like what however we're dealing with that, like you do need support. Like support is necessary. None of us go at this alone. We might think that a lot of times, like when you're depressed or you're feeling anxious and all that stuff, is because you've told yourself that it's your responsibility and that you're the only one, and like it's not actually true most of the time. Most of the time people can't help you. Like it's just you have
Yeah,
to choose to,
and
like,
people even help you without you realizing. Like even like if I was like down at home, back in Perth, not too great. Like my mum just like hearing her in the kitchen, like I still didn't feel like I was fully alone, or like having like my sister around, even though she's opened the door and like pissed me off. But just like even my brother just being there, just, I don't know, like they're there, but then you still feel like you're alone. We're like, I don't know. I think because like Perth is such a bubble. And I think anyone in Perth will say this too. Like everyone grew up with everyone, like everyone knows everyone. Like we kind of always had that support system. And now that I've come here, like I have them virtually, but it still feels kind of different. So like I think that's what was really hard about the change. I was like so like community or like friendship orientated. It's weird being here and like not having that. But,
what's that journey like to like make new friends?
It's been like, it's not that I've met like a lot of people here, like probably like 20 to 30 already. But like for me, even when I was living in Canada for 6 months for uni, like I made all these friends and they're all supportive because like I wasn't Canadian. But then it's like, you guys could never be my friends. It sounds so bad. I'm open to new friendships. DM me, like I'm keen to see you. But like it was more like, how do I reopen up or like let my guards down, Or like even the people I'm meeting, I get like really drained socially. And then I go home like, oh, that was a long day, Mike. Let's just like not talk now. But then like, with my friends and stuff like that, it doesn't feel like it's work. We're here, I'm like, how much do I have to like sell myself? How much can I still keep in? Like it's a lot.
That balance of like knowing it's trust, right? I think like just that developing any friendship is like you have to reestablish what trust is,
Yeah.
There's and it takes work. I think what you're talking about is like it's not that you don't want new friends, it's just that new friends take work. Like
Yeah,
a lot of
definitely.
effort. They don't know you. Like they don't know anything about you. So what you're
Exactly.
feeling is like, oh God, I have to like, cause you can't just talk. Like you have to explain and give
Why is it
context.
that way? And like,
Yeah.
it's so hard. And everyone that I'm like, let's say like the top 12 girls I'm close to in America, none of them are in my city. So it's like, at least with like that group, like even you include, like I already spoke to you like basically like every week. Like we're FaceTiming, whatever it is, or communicating. So it's like it's easier to like be myself. Where like other people, like you just have to start, I don't know, you just have to start fresh all over again.
It's exhausting, sis. I'm just telling you right now because I had to do it too. It is definitely exhausting, and I think, I guess for me, what was really helpful after some time was like my uncle like explained this concept to me, and it's not a new concept. I'm sure other people have heard it, but just like the categories that you put your friendships into,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I'm not. You're not saying I don't want to meet people, right? It's just like you have categories for friends. Like you have your close. He puts it into three, and I can't remember how he described it, but you have your close friends. You know what I mean? The people that you're like the most intimate with, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I need people to not think intimacy is sex, okay? Intimate in other ways.
Funny enough, I wasn't thinking that, so that's
Yeah,
something.
no, I tell this to the audience because a lot of people be like really confusing words.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you have that, and those things have been established, right? Like my best friend has been my best friend for over 10 years now. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I think we're on 12, right? So like I don't have to explain a lot of myself to her.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that she remembers that I forget about my own life. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And those relationships, like you can go to those people for anything. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, you go to them for anything. Like there's full transparency, like right, like there's just an extreme comfort with those people. And then you have like your second friend group, right? Which is more of like maybe proximity, you know what I mean? Or it might be like things that you have in common or, like shit like that.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, like I might go kick it with you or whatever, but like I'm not telling you about my life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nor am I interested in or like in really learning all of yours. Cause that's
Yeah.
not it's just like the amount of investment you're gonna put there. Cause it takes hella time to know somebody. It takes hella time to know yourself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let alone a whole nother person, right? Like I think that's why all of us are like, man, dating's hard. I gotta learn all these people, and then it
I
doesn't
know.
work out, and then I gotta do this again. Like
And all those like toxic traits or even like bad habits you have your friends accepted, you have to
Mhm.
like unlearn because new people are just like, that's weird.
Yeah, like that's not gonna fly in this group or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And I've had to experience that, good and bad. And it's just been
Mhm.
like, one, it definitely teaches you about yourself because when when you're in that comfort zone with the people you know forever, then you don't like some of the things you just don't pay attention to anymore. But when you're in
Mhm.
a new friend group and you're like, oh wait, I have to actually present me, you
Yeah.
know, um, it gives you a lot of opportunity to reflect and like have like, oh, that's not a thing for you. Okay, right. So it's like because I moved from the
You're
Bay,
learning
so it's like so
communication.
weird.
Yeah. That's
So
what I'm saying. Like you learn like I don't know. I think with my even like my like fraternity friends or high school friends, like I had known them because like some of us fell off because of the genocide.
Mhm.
That's what happens. You don't post and support. If they watch this.
It's okay, girl. Go ahead.
Even then though, like I knew for like all of them I knew for more than 10 years. And even then they were like secondary to like the girls I knew my whole life. So
Mhm.
it's weird not having that support system. And like I grew up like just always knowing there's like I don't know, like always support there. Like whether it's like friends, whether it's like the guys, like shout out Sammy and Araya, like
Mhm.
it's just like they're always there. And then now that they're not there, like it's weird.
Mhm.
And it's like you mean like I've had such a blast. Yeah, like went to my first basketball game yesterday. Shout out Mavs. We won that.
Okay.
Nice. And like I'm having all like even if we go out and stuff like that, but then it's like, damn, if my friends were here, they would really have a great time, you know?
Mm,
Like simple things like that. Or like just catching up and not having to talk.
yeah.
Ace. You're not representing American dogs well right now.
Okay, he's over here whining in the background. Listen, I tell people all the time, I have some episodes I still need to edit, but they have their kids in the background, just different things. And I'm like, yo, that's your life. It's okay.
Yeah, I
Like,
know 100%. Keep crying, keep crying.
yeah, it's okay. Like, that's your life.
It's
That's
so
your
good.
truth. You know what I mean? That's his house. So, like, where you gonna go?
I'm always so confused. Like, why am I talking to someone through a screen? Come here.
Because you have to like these are the things that we deal with, right? Like this is what life actually looks like. This is how
Mhm.
because people who really like they look at us and they're like, how do these girls get it all accomplished, right? They
Yeah.
like especially they look at me differently, but like they're looking at you and they're like, man, such a like fierce advocate and
It's the same as you.
XYZ. Sure. Like, I was like,
I hate you so much.
no, no, no. My advocacy just looks different. I'm talking about you in like the
Yeah.
political space, right? But it's really just that like they're like, how do you guys do it? that's really what
Mhm.
they're curious about. And it's like, no, this is us on a regular day. This is what we deal with. This is how our
Mhm.
home life is. And it's just authentically true. Like, we're still human beings, my guy. Like, there's people
Yeah,
behind these screens. So,
100%. And there's sacrifice too. Like everyone thinks like we're living like the best life, but like majority of last year, I was hardly seeing my friends at this age. Like people would have to like actually come and check in on me. So it's like a
mhm.
lot of like I look at like Mike's hustle, and like he has to sacrifice like he would choose like working over like seeing his friends. I'm like, you can have a break. But just like
Mhm.
things like that where people like are actually sacrificing a lot, and it's not as easy
Mhm.
as it seems. And like even though like we're smiling in these videos, like we still struggle as individuals,
Every
as
day.
you know. Like
Yeah, I was like, every day. No,
yeah.
every single day.
Super, yeah.
It's really life. No, there must be somebody at the door he keeps looking at. But literally, it's like we're just living our day to day life. It's just we choose to do work that impacts other people,
Mhm.
right? Like everybody, I mean, everything that we do impacts somebody in some way. We might not see it directly, but like the work we do is like directly like, let me work with people and me service them, all of those things. And it is exhausting. Like you kept saying
Mhm.
16-hour work days, right? That we do that too. Like
Mhm.
it's like, what you mean? Yeah, the little hour on on the show that you got to see that looked really nice. Okay, but that did
Just
not
like 10
explain the
hours
rest
of
of my day.
editing. Yeah.
Yeah, like that didn't explain the rest of my day. It didn't do like people who are gonna watch this episode, I'm recording this right after I just did Manifest Mondays, right?
Mhm.
So it's like I'm back to back in doing interviews, editing, notes, putting things up. I said today too, like I work through my weekends. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like people were like, "What'd you do this weekend?" Worked, bro. And it's
Mhm.
like it wasn't bad because I take my time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like for me, it's like I've adopted this thing of work gently.
I love
And
that.
so right, isn't it? I'm trying
Sounds
to
so
literally
healthy.
yeah, I'm trying to make it a thing. It's just work gently. And it's like for me, I know I have a lot of work to do, but the stuff that I want, this is work that I'm giving myself. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like these are things that I'm signing up for. These are things that are important to me and like are fulfilling to me. Right.
Mhm.
So like it doesn't, yes, it's hard. And there's days where I'm exhausted, like aka why my hair is like frizzy and shit today. Cause like I'm tired. Like, and
Mhm.
I've been working every day, right? And I've
Yeah.
been and work for me also includes working on myself, you
Yeah.
know, because my self work literally directly relates to this work, to this
Yeah.
show, to all the community stuff. And like, that's what I'm trying to like really emphasize this season too is like, yo, like, take care of you and then you can take care of others. But it does require
100%.
sacrifice. Like, it really
Yeah.
does.
And,
What
like,
do you
even things like burnout, bro, like, if you I still am recovering, I tell you this all the time, I still have not recovered from last year's burnout. I don't know how this is possible, is this stressing me out? But it's like, when you're burnt out, you can't really work at your capacity.
Oh no, not at all. It's like I think I said it earlier. I don't know if it was on or off camera, but like I like I talked about it on Manifest Mondays this week. And so they'll by the time they see this episode, they'll I have already watched it, but it's
Yeah.
literally like so exhausting for me too. Like I burned out 3 or 4 times like last year.
Mhm.
Um
Mhm.
in terms of like getting sick. Like you
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like physically. And you did too.
Yeah.
It was like our
I just gonna have to accept the sickness. It was lasting months. I was like, "This is not normal," but
no,
yeah.
it's not, right? Like, it's like, okay, your body has tried to tell you time and time again to, like, stop, you know?
Mhm.
Like, take a rest, breathe, chill out, and when we didn't, we all, like, literally all of us in the group, it's like one by one, we all got sick. Like, it
Yeah.
was
We all died at the same time, which is great because you have a support system, but then, like, yeah, I don't know. And especially this work, like, I feel like I can handle working by myself really well with stress. It
Mhm,
still impacts me and I don't know how to stop. But when you're, like, burnt out from, like, community work, it's, like, a
mhm,
different kind of burnout. Like, you have no motivation to speak to people, and it actually impacts you, like, more long run. Because there was a point where I was like, when this genocide ends, I don't think I can speak to my community anymore. Like it got like even like I was like I don't know, it was like a lot of like mental health impacts. Like last year was a lot. Like and
oh,
even with the friendships I had, like I had to like step back and realize like how much I was like sacrificing for genocide, and I was like, this is not healthy. Like I have to see my friends, and like yeah, it was just a lot.
it is, it's exhausting work, um,
Mhm.
And I feel that sentiment. I think a lot of us feel that sentiment of like like you've overindulged in a space for so long that you just are like, yeah, I need a complete cutoff. Like I just you know, you reach capacity and hopefully, right, we find our way back around, but it is
Mm,
that. And I think a lot of people experience that. And I think that also goes to like why people numb. You know what I mean? Like they numb themselves and they try to like move away from things or, you know, we got escapism. We got all these things that we try to do to like
I
try
know.
to
And it's honestly, it's like the small things. Like since I've come here, like I turn my notifications off for like advocacy groups because I have a thing. If I read the email or the task, or whatever, like I usually just like reply on the spot
Mhm.
while I'm still out, whatever. Like it got to the point where like some of my friends were like, man, if you're at dinner with us, like just get off your phone. Like I
Mhm.
actually got told to like get off my phone. I was like, no worries. Because I'm just thinking like if I don't reply fast enough, like someone could die in between like me seeing it and me replying. This is
Mm.
a toxic habit. But like even with general life, like it's I don't know.
Well,
Okay
that's
to
what like we were actually dealing and we still are, right? We're actually dealing with life and death situations, unfortunately,
Mhm.
right? So like I can understand how your brain like created that connection for you, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, this tweet has to go out, like this email has to go out, and this, you know, and it's honestly, it is what you said. It's very toxic for us, like internally in our body, to do
Mhm.
that too. And I've gotten to that habit of like, no, I want to be present in the moment that I'm with you, and so like I've been very intentional. That's also why um I don't force myself to go out when I know I have things that I'm stressed about or worried about. Because then I know the whole time that I'm there sitting with you, I'm not going to be like thinking about you. I'm going to be
That's
thinking
the stage
about,
I haven't got to yet. I was agreeing to everything before that. I'm like, yep, yep, nope. Like, I mean, that's the good thing about coming here though, like, is I'm being forced to like deal with my shit. Like,
mm,
yeah.
yeah, it's a fun time, huh?
It,
It's a fun time, sis. It's the personal. This is the point. The personal development journey does not end, right?
Mhm.
Like we keep
Yeah.
going, um, and we just go through so many obstacles. But it's that perseverance of like, no, like I know I can get through this. I know I can push through. Having that internal like drive and motivation is just it's trying to just keep that in check. Like, yo, slow
Mhm.
down. Like, you know what I mean? Or give it something else to focus on. Like as soon
Mhm.
as I made my health my primary focus, it's changed everything else, you know? I was like, "Oh, cool.
That's so
Nope,
good.
can't do that." And I was like, "So sorry. No." I was like, it's not gonna work for my body. Like, I can't.
I
And
love
it's like
that. No, that's so good though. I'm being more conscious about it too. Like I have been stress eating instead of like not eating. So I've been doing the reverse, as you would know. So I always complain. But just like now I feel like I'm going to be more conscious about that moving forward. Like what is my attachment to food? What is my attachment to my phone? What is my attachment to work? You know, all
mm.
these important questions. Not in that order. Food's definitely third.
But it's important because, right, like what you're talking about is just that what happens when you rest and when you give yourself space. Well, you're kind of not really you're you are being forced into that. It's not like you chose to rest, but either way it's still working.
Mm,
Is that you get that clarity, like you get your mind back and you can start trying to like put it back together and not feel so discombobulated, you know what I mean? Like
mm.
half the time it's just
It's
like I'm like, oh, I have so much shit to do. I don't even know what it is.
I
I just
think
tell myself
it's
that.
like I know, but then you don't know how to start though. But I feel like my mind is clearer. It sounds so bad when I'm busy. I just like all these ideas, all these things are coming. I'm like, yeah, my brain's on like work mode. But
Mhm.
now it's so confused. He's like, you on vacation? Are you still working? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't know.
It's gonna take a minute, but you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there.
Yeah.
You got. I was like, you got solid people with you, so I know that that's gonna work.
Period.
But being cognizant of our time and you know our audience because they're probably like y'all are just chatting. Um,
Sugarable.
I know we do this for a long time. But essentially, coming towards the end, what I like to ask, you know, because there's a lot that you were dropping, and I hope people are picking it up, right? Like our lives are not easy. We're all like transitioning and we're trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Some of the mental health tips that you were dropping, right? And I think they're all good. So hopefully people took notes. I always tell people take notes, bro. Like take notes,
I
write
know
this
you
in your
always
phone,
do. You
something
always
because you
do.
were gonna forget this later. Um, what would you say to your younger self or to the younger people watching that might be, struggling with their journey?
That's an amazing question.
Thank
And
you.
honestly, it's a great question. Maybe one that you could give me more time to prep for.
Oh, Becky.
Honestly, the first thing I want to say is like just chill out. But honestly, like find your purpose and like work for it. But then
Mhm.
also make sure you're working for yourself. Because like a big thing for me last year was like I became like a robot where I was just like consistently working for other people. And like I got to this stage, I'm like, what have I accomplished? Because I feel like I was supporting other people with their accomplishments. So it's like figuring out what you want to do really early. But then like don't work towards age. Like me saying I want to be a millionaire or work for the UN or be a director by 30. I'm like, it's okay if I'm not. Like just put more ease in yourself.
Oh yeah, them expectations, girl. There's a couple deadlines that, like, I look at them and I'm like, bye bye. Like they're just like they're just floating away because
Oh, that's so weak.
they're not happening. I literally picked up a paper the other day. I'm telling you, I'm cleaning a bunch of stuff. I'm getting ready to transition out of here, and literally saw on the back of the paper I had like from 28 to 30, you're gonna do this, and it was like from 30 to 33, you're gonna do this, and I was I didn't,
Not for me.
it doesn't always happen that way,
Yeah.
right? There was some things that did get manifested, for
Mhm.
sure, but it doesn't always come in the time that you want it to, and
Mhm.
that letting go of that expectation and like freeing yourself of like the disappointment, is
There
really,
you
really
go.
important. So that's good. I like that advice. I hope that they wrote that down.
Write that down.
And please do yourself a favor, okay? Because I just turned 30. I'm not where I thought I would be. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, at 26. This if you knew how high my expectations are really high. So like at 26, I'm definitely not where I was meant to be. But then I'm
Mm.
like, at what point was I meant to get to that stage? 'Cause I've been working every day since I was like 20. So
This is what I'm saying. It's like it's not gonna happen when you think it's gonna happen. Um, it might not manifest in the exact way. It might come like a little bit different. You know what I mean? Sideways,
hmm,
like whatever. But it eventually, if that's what you're working on, it'll happen.
yeah,
You gotta let go of that control because that control is gonna. Oof, it's just gonna it's gonna it's
zero
gonna make
control.
your anxiety so much more worse. So,
Okay.
oh man, I tell people this. And for our last question, because I always close it out this way, you answered this. I said the same thing to Maddi, for those of you who have been on the show. So I don't know that I have that much energy to really insert it. If you did, however you responded to this question last time you were on, but what is it that you're hoping your legacy will be? Or has that, I don't know if you're going to remember your answer. So I was going to say, how has that changed or has it changed? But just even thinking about, if they're really curious, they'll go back and, and watch it. But
Honestly, though, I'm curious myself. I'm like, what did I say? Because you asked me this like what a year ago
mhm.
or less than that. I can't remember my answer, but honestly, I'm just such a big. I want to. It's so bad. I just want to change something and be satisfied with it, but I know it's going to be something to do with human rights. I just
I
haven't
feel
figured it
like
out
it
yet.
was that. I feel like it
Yeah,
had something to do with that.
it always is. I'm so driven by like it's so weird. Like even like my individual selfish ambitions are still based on human rights.
Mm.
But just someone that will always, I guess my legacy would be like someone that always want to change, support others, something along those lines. But
Mm.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm like, I feel like I remember it being around that, um, and like maybe related to Tigray in some way. Oh,
Mhm.
we're gonna have to watch this one back. So
Mm.
for the audience
I
sake,
want the start of the sentence to be Tigrawati Australian for sure. I'll leave them added to guys since we're all one. So a Tigrawati Australian is definitely it. Like you thought you could kill us all, but like I'm out here.
mm,
So
no, I love it. I love it. I know you're doing it. I know you're working towards it every day. And I always like to affirm people. And it's really easy for me, like with you, with Rem, with Febu, Madi, whoever. It's like, oh, I know because I'm like in your regular circle, so I can tell like, yo, no, you're doing everything you need to be doing. You know what I mean? To
mhm.
like continue on that path and like reach those goals. And you do it already, right? Like you're already fighting for human rights. right? And all the work you've done has been in that vein. And so I know for sure that that's going to happen. I think manifesting for you just like a bigger stage, and like you being prepared.
It's like controlling. I think like the best way to say it is like I want to control the change that I make, because I feel like it's always up to like the government or an organization or like a community, but I just want to have more power with the change I can make. Like,
oh yeah, you got that already. It's not even like that's already there. Like you already tapped into it. It's just like I had to learn this too. It's like you don't even know because most people won't tell you. But like if I were to go ask like the people in your community, like what has Betty meant to you? You know what I mean? Like can you remember a time or whatever? Like if I ask them to share something about you, I guarantee you there's people who have already been touched by you. There's people who have already like had their life altered in some way, especially because the line of work that you're in. Like I know 100% that there is somebody in the community that's going to be able to say that, like inside or outside. Like when I say community in this sense, I'm talking about Perth as a whole, not even just Tigray, because you don't just fight for, when you say human rights, you're not just focused on Tigray. Like human is the key word here, right?
yeah.
So that's why I say like I know for a fact I can ask people because you do it, you live it, you breathe it, you walk it every day, right? And nobody is making you stay on that mission. Like you do that. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know when and how, but I know that you'll be on a much bigger stage, like one of your choosing. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be anyone else's stage or platform, but just this idea that like you have something to give to the world, right? You have a heart to care for people who that often go neglected. You know what I'm saying? So like now you're gonna make me. I'm making myself. But it's like there's not that many. You know what I mean? Like who can say that? Like and I think this will apply to you. I remember I texted someone and they were like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm just thinking about like I know that everyone just got bad news and I'm trying to figure out a way to like soften the blow and like, do some stuff." And he was just like, "So you wake up and you think about other people and you think about community?" And I was just like, "Yeah." Like, and I was just like very natural reaction. And I know you do the same thing,
Yeah.
right? Like we do that. Like our whole friend group does that. Like we wake
Yeah.
up and
It's
we
so
think
similar.
about,
It's so weird.
yeah, like how do we want to make this world better? And it makes me emotional because it's so powerful and beautiful to like to know people like that, right? But then to also be able to like be in community and like share space and do the work together makes it so much better. So it's like I don't know how it's going to manifest, but I know like that between all of us, you're going to get there. Like like it's going to happen. Between all of us, it's going to happen.
I can't wait to see the five of us in like 5 years. I can't lie.
Oh my god, I know.
Living a
We're gonna
year
have
from now.
It's gonna be good times, yeah. It's gonna be
I
good
know.
times. But yes, no, I hope really like this is gonna be a beautiful time. And I hope people are really taking away like this might have felt like more of a relaxed conversation, because we're actually friends, right? So it's like it's easy. Sometimes it's hard to interview
I
your
do not
friends.
have my politics out on right now.
No, don't apologize. I just want people to really take these things away, to understand that like if you're gonna look up to us, right? Or if you're gonna think of Betty as a role model, like remember that Betty's a human being too, and remember that she's gone through life and she's going through lessons, and you're just brave enough to put yourself out there. You know what I mean? You're brave enough to like be a leader, and I really hope people took that, and I hope that you're taking that and like you're still
I'm
enjoying.
taking. I just the way that is relevant in a different way. You have no idea. I'm saying this live to my friends after this or this video when it's posted, because like I definitely got like a random example because it happens a lot. Is like with me being in the movement, like I get criticized a lot, like you shouldn't have wrote that tweet, or you shouldn't be posting smiling, or like especially like within my community, within the committee, like I always get criticized. And I'm like, I don't know when people are going to realize I'm still just like a 26-year-old or a 25-year-old last year. Like, girls, I really resonate with what you just said.
Oh, absolutely. That's 100% facts, yo. We're human beings. We're trying our best. Our heart is in the right position. We're trying to help people um, with less than, you know what I mean? And I think that everyone deserves a little bit of grace. You know what I'm saying?
You
Everyone
can't
deserves that. Yeah, be kind, be nice, be gentle. Okay. Just try doing that for once instead of being mean and yelling at people all day. But yes, thank you so much, Betty A. This has been a dope episode, Black Women Wednesdays, y'all, on the Uprooted Network. Make sure you're following us. Of course. What you
Thanks
mean?
for everything you do, sis. I always say this, but like I'll say it again on the video. Thank you for healing the community and for healing our friendship group. And like you're the one reason why we all formed as well. You made the group between the 5 of us. So yeah.
That's true.
That.
I forgot about that. Like, yeah, that's true.
And I will surely see you soon.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a fun girls trip. It's gonna be a fun girls trip. So y'all make sure you are following Betsy. Make sure you're tapping into the United Tagato Australia. You're tapping into, our best friend. Okay, Free Tigray. Make sure you following that. We got the
My
merch.
jump is coming.
Yes, Betsy's merch is coming.
Can you like edit Free Tigray on this?
I know, right? I should just Photoshop it over here. But yeah, y'all don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Betsy, thank you again. This has been a dope episode. And y'all, we'll see you on Sunday for Black Men Speaks.
Peace. I'll do it again.